The AWP in CS:GO was one of the most iconic weapons that really set CS:GO in the mainstream that it is. You know, everybody knows about the AWP, and in Valorant they added, you know, Valorant being very similar to CS:GO. Of course, they added the operator, which is, in my opinion, just a clearly a play on words of the AWP in CS:GO. It acts very similarly. It works very similar. It's got the same type of zoom, and overall, it's really just very similar to the AWP in CS:GO. I wanted to make a video talking about how to properly use the AWP in Valorant. And a lot of this is very similar to if you're playing CS:GO and if you've played CS:GO a lot. But in Valorant, it is slightly different. One of the big differences is you can't really quick scope. It's a very slow sniper. It's a lot slower in Valorant than it was in CS:GO, or is in CS:GO. So you can't use it as aggressively as you can in CS:GO. In Valorant, though, you can essentially dominate long-ranged sightlines. The only thing that can really challenge an operator at long range in Valorant is the Vandal with its one-shot headshot, or potentially a Marshal, or of course another operator. But with the operator being 4,500, you really have to know when to use it, because unless you are just maxed out on cash, you will run into issues where if you buy the op in a round, op plus full armor is going to end up costing you 5,500, and that can really put you at a disadvantage if you lose that. If you end up losing that round, and especially dying in that round, you're set back over 5,000 cash, or whatever currency it's considered in the game, which can either force you to save the next round or make you force buy. So you have to know when to buy it and when to use it. And when you have it, how to use it. I see a lot of people who, will pick up an op from the other team, and, obviously they're smart enough to save the op, essentially. They'll kill somebody, pick up their op, but then when the next round starts, they just drop it for somebody else to pick up. And that's great, if you don't feel like you're confident with the op, that's fine, give it to somebody who's going to be better with it. But at the same time, might as well actually get good with it, and learn how to really utilize the operator in Valorant. So instead of showing you a bunch of stuff in the training room and the practice room, the practice room, I don't see any need. So I'm just putting 2 games where I have some Valorant gameplay in the background using the operator. And the only reason that I'm not going to show like practice, ranges and stuff like that is there's not a whole lot to show, right? There is no recoil pattern. There's a red dot. When you zoom in on your scope, there's a red dot, and if that red dot is there, then your bullet will go where you're aiming. And if you are moving, the red dot disappears, and your bullet will not go where you're aiming. So, simple enough, don't move. Before you take your shot, just like any other gun in Valorant, stop moving, right? Just let go of your WASD, whatever you have held down. Don't try to shift walk with it, because that red dot will disappear. And the more you get used to using it, you can get used to, essentially like quick peeking around corners, and learning how to shoot right as that red dot is reappearing before you even actually see it. And that can become very useful, especially when you're not able to hold a long sight line. So when using the op, you want to be holding long lines of sight, whether it be on split, you see right here, a lot of these rounds you see me holding garage or holding mid. You want to hold those long range sight lines where you're holding a tight angle. That way, if they peek, you can shoot them. Now, sometimes you want to have it be a slightly larger line of sight, because you don't want them to run past too quick, sprint past, and you not be able to actually hit them and you have to kind of like chase them down. You know, you want it to be a tight angle, but at the same time you want there to be a little bit of wiggle room. That way you can flick if necessary. But of course that's not always an option. You know, sometimes you have to push up and you don't have the option to hold some long line of sight, so you have to actually push up with the op, and you have to essentially quick scope for a lack of better terms. And that can be really difficult with the op because it is so slow, and you do really have to time your shots. But it's not as hard as it actually seems. The operator has really high penetration in Valorant. If you didn't know, there's 3 levels of penetration: low, medium, high, and that makes a difference on if your bullets are actually going to land through any sort of surface. And it does have a high penetration, so you can get nice wall bangs. So if you're holding a tight angle and there's like a wooden door frame, you can always shoot through the door frame, and it will do slightly less damage. But if you're getting upper body shots, you know, you should either get the kill or ding them pretty good. And then make sure you're aiming for the stomach or chest area. I don't suggest aiming for the head if you don't have to, because then you have a smaller target to actually hit. And the op does do 150 damage, so it will kill to the chest. If you shoot them in the leg, if you leg somebody, it does roughly like 120 something damage, 127, 121, something like that. So you actually, in most cases, if they have full armor, you will not get the kill. So always try to be aiming up. And if you do leg somebody and you hit them for 127 or something like that, don't be scared to pull out your pistol. If you have a classic or a ghost or something like that, you know, pull out your pistol really quick, and it's only going to take 1, maybe 2 shots to finish them off. You know, if you leg somebody, there's no reason to, number one, don't push up too aggressively and try to force getting that kill, because of course you don't want to lose your op. That's one of the biggest things with using an op. If you have to save, right? That's a $4,500 investment. I'm just going to use dollars because I'm not entirely sure what the game considers the currency, but that is a huge investment. And unless you are maxed out, or you know that you're gonna be able to win those gunfights, maybe you're just popping off like crazy, you don't need to play over aggressive, and you can save around, and unless you're right at the end of the game and you're about to lose, there's no reason that you can't save with an op. It doesn't matter what your teammates are fucking yelling at you. Just save that op and be prepared for that next round. Of course, if it's like a 1v1 or something like that, depending on the situation, sometimes you want to save and sometimes you actually want to, try to win that round. It really just depends. But in any case, I mean, that's really all I have to say about the op. It's a pretty easy gun to use. It's one of the most powerful weapons that you can use in the game, but at the same time, it's easy, but it takes really good accuracy, and it takes, a little bit of skill. Obviously, if you don't have great accuracy, the operator probably isn't the gun for you. Well, Valorant's probably not the game for you if you don't have at least somewhat decent accuracy. But of course, you can practice that, and I'll be putting out a video here soon about really good ways to practice your aim and really get into the flow while playing video games. Any video game, doesn't have to be Valorant. But in any case, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know that there's really not a whole lot to talk about when it comes to the op. You stand still, you have decent aim, you shoot, get your kill, and you move out. Hold tight angles, and you'll do well. Don't buy it if you're not confident, and it's made to hold long angles. So don't be trying to rush up and play it like it's Call of Duty with a DSR. You're made to sit back and hold long angles and kind of force people out of positions, make sure that they're not able to push, in certain areas. But in any case, I'd appreciate it if you leave a like, comment, subscribe. It helps a lot. I know it's been a day or two since I put out a video. I've just been really busy lately, but I should have quite a few videos coming out next week and this weekend. Take it easy, guys.